All right, so to test your x-axis Endstop, we're going to do it from the menu diagnosis. So you can press the menu button on your controller and scroll up or scroll down to it. You press enter, and then we'll see the button for X limit minus. So when I press the switch, the red square will light up. And this is the one that functions, but doesn't really work for what we need it to because it's going to make a nasty sound, and I'll video that for you here in a second. So I'm going to do a reset using the red reset button, which is going to make it rehome. It's not resetting settings and stuff like that. It's just going to make the system reset like as if you did a cold boot of powering it off and back on again. Listen for the nasty noise in the belt. Not what you want to hear, but that's the sound. And then what we will see is 7 red flashes on the driver. So that's this LED right here. It'll flash 7 times and then pause and then flash 7 more. That is a position fault. Another sign of a driver fault on a given axis is when the machine's powered up, that you can actually move it by hand. In this case, the x-axis for the laser head is faulted, but the gantry is not. So I can push on the gantry and pull on it, and it's not going to move. All right, so here's an example of a x-axis limit switch that actually functions but doesn't work. And what I mean by that is if I press this button here and I press it hard enough, I can actually make it trigger. You can hear that click sound, and it'll give me the red square on the screen. You can see the difference here with this other one is it's got the lever on the button and it real easily presses and springs back, whereas this one here is almost like it's broken internally and it's pulled all the way forward, and there's a gap between it and the button. So when I press it, yeah, sure it makes, but I have to get this thing all the way down to the plastic to actually make. It's a quick 2-second swap. We will loosen up these 2 Allen head bolts holding it down, pull the 2 wires off, put the new one on, put the wires back the same way they were, and then retest. All right, so what we have here is we've replaced the switch. We've had issues with it not making. As you can see, this little arm right here is loose, and I can make the switch click or not click. So that gives me my direction and Y. And if I move the head, you can see that I have screws here that'll let me adjust it in the left to right X direction. So the idea is you want it to make before this thing reaches its end of travel, which if I push this, you can hear that click. That's end of travel. And so when the switch doesn't make under normal conditions, that's the sound you're hearing, the aluminum reaching the other aluminum. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure from the bottom and give myself about 6 millimeters or so. And that's going to be my set point. Now, if you've seen the other vids, you know that I can move the x-axis because 1, either it's faulted, or 2, I did a technique where I unplugged the driver from its power source. So let's just say it's faulted. And that means we can just move it by hand left and right, and that's good, so we can make adjustments. So what you'll do is there's a screw here on the side. I've already loosened it. Then we'll just make the arm activate the switch. You can kind of hear that click. It does it. Then I'll tighten it back up. Make it nice and snug. And then we'll use the red reset button to actually make the system home again and then verify that it works.